All right, hello to all my guys, gals, and non-binary pals out there across the electrical ocean. This is Jazzman back with another game, this time between Karmavore playing his he's actually playing Tortons this time, split between Kathir Forest and Forglar Swamp, and Raltz003 playing full faction Forsaken Waste. And with me today is a very special guest, the Sovereign of the Sundered Lands, the Dominator of Dragons, that bodacious Belgian himself, BurnPyro.
I do like the sound of bodacious Belgian. But yeah, we're looking here at the game. FW maps usually a bit campy, but they've already got the broken bones out, so it shouldn't take long anymore. You know, a few more turns, that reaches the shrine, so over really.
Yeah, I know. You're just going to send that thing right in there. He could probably two-shot it with the damage he's got with that broken bones. Very dangerous champion. You got to keep an eye on that, where he's going, where his splits are going. Just a lot to take in on Karmavore's side. I wonder if he'll be up to the challenge.
He'll have to send his best for sure.
So he's actually been playing Tortons these past few days. I feel like he had an awesome game versus BurnPyro the other day, where his avatar was being run down by Vindrax, which I think you watched that, didn't you?
I saw the end. Yeah, that was a really great game.
Well played on both sides. I caught the last 15 minutes, and he played it really well. He kept his avatar safe from the acid bomb using inhibit power and things like that, and he kept the agitator at bay. He managed to pull through with the win. So yeah, Tortons really strong deck in a good player's hands. Have you faced Tortons lately yourself?
I don't think so, fortunately. I hate playing against decks that have really efficient monsters. I like it when they die quickly. That's my preference for my opponent's decks. But yeah, I saw flashes of the game because I kept sort of checking in at 15 minutes, and it looked like it was kind of over. So okay, be over in a while, play a game, come back. It's 40 minutes, still ongoing. Oh, it's over again.
Yeah.
But it never quite was.
Well, looks like he's moving in here. Karma is moving in here, so he's maybe going to get a tremor on summon as well as the broken bones. 45 HP on that broken bones, by the way, with the boost from that bone wing. And oh yeah, that thorn trap coming down. That's sort of a favorite play of his when it comes to Tortons. I've noticed he does a lot of knockback strats with that thorn trap. Really powerful relic there from Kathir. He drops the long fuse bomb as well in preparation for next turn. And the lumbering from the tremor will make it a little bit more difficult than usual to escape that blast.
Yeah, it definitely looks like the Tortons have the upper hand here just by sheer defensive stats and just stats across the board. Because it looks like it's a skeleton deck Raltz is playing here, so definitely need something juicy.
Yeah, like a Hoarfrost dragon yeah. He doesn't really have much offensive pressure here with one of his champions being the Archmage, not having an attack itself, and then Bonewing, not really a combat piece either, more of just sits around. I mean, you usually don't really see him even in skeletons these days. Tomb Lord just kind of takes the boost spot, number one.
Yeah, I do prefer the Tomb Lord. Just range surge plus boost is feels quite good. But yeah, if he could drop like a bone elemental or something tanky, something that stalls out, generates a little more skeletons, that'd be really good protection here to stop the advance. Korag does the trick too.
Oh yeah. Korag really nice. Seismic Leap coming in. Of course, Seismic Leap is a little bit less effective against the Tortons since they can't be slowed with their stability racial. And then, bam! There goes the long fuse bomb, doing a bunch of AoE damage. And it looks like Karma is going to pretty much clean up here. He's got the summon kill, he's got the broken bones kill, pistol shot not triggering split. Very helpful here, and he can just let it die to rend, probably.
Yeah, and importantly, the Corsair with Tariff is out as well, so all the sort of little cheap skeletons, at least the real ones like Broken Bones, will not work in Raltz's favor here.
Right. And it looks like that's what he's doing, actually. He's getting the split so that Raltz loses 16 Nora off that Broken Bones death, rather than just 8.
That is pretty painful on a map with only one font for sure, and he just deployed a Korag, so he must not have a lot in the bank.
Right. he gets that globe, he might be able to get something cheap down, but other than that, it's not... I mean, I feel like skeletons on this map can hold out if they get the right set of draws, if they don't get rushed too hard early. It helps that Karmavore is not actually in the font yet, so he is still getting that Nora. Bit of a disease breath, and an attack from the summon. I've noticed Karma doesn't run any of the healing Tortons in his Torton deck, like the favored for heal mass, or any of either Boghopper Shaman or Garu Shaman from the split. Just going pure Tortons and not a lot of sustain, I would think. So if he does get into it, yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, that was a good point. That attrition style that the skeletons love to play, just throwing cheap meter, you might be a lot more effective here if he does indeed not have a lot of healing there. He did not grab the globe or deploy, so that does leave him quite defenseless here. But he did get sort of 3 Grave Warrior Zone, 21 HP. You know, just keeping on stalling. But it would be great if he could get some actual damage out, some range damage like a Tomb Lord. Anything really here.
Yeah. Like a Toll Taker, maybe. I was mentioning Hoarfrost Dragon earlier, although I don't think skeleton players run that too much nowadays. I feel like Tormented Priest is also an underutilized option for them. Just sort of another boost champion that skeletons don't really need when they have Tomb Lord. It's sort of all the synergy skeletons really have working for them is summons and boost, and when you have so many champions with boost, I mean, it's just a dead upgrade in a lot of cases where you have multiple champions with it at once and you don't really feel like deploying them back to back, you know?
Yeah, and the deploying doesn't really do a whole lot here. I mean, the Rebuke is nice against the Battle Hymn of the Guildslinger, but Tortons don't generate a ton of AP other than the maybe with the Horn of Order, something like that. But a Tomb Lord here would be seemingly a lot more valuable, just getting to hit those Tortons on range, because he doesn't have a lot of range out, just a lot of melee with some alternate attacks. But a Tomb Lord, Toll Taker, maybe even like a Skeletal Berserker, you know, just some cheap stuff that can take a couple of hits, dish out some damage, and just start trading HP away would be good here.
Mm-hmm. There's been some talk on the Discord about Crossbone being a really good option as well for not just skeletons, but Forsaken Waste meta in general. Coming in with Piercing Shot 3 at 70 Nora as well as Precision. Pretty good option now. I think we might see that in Raltz's deck here in the near future. But for now, we've got Bone Slave moving in as a fairly, I guess, non-standard choice of upgrades, I would say. Cripple isn't really something you'd see on Bone Slave normally. But he does get the kill with the Soul Bane. So he does get that. He doesn't get the Globe, unfortunately. And with Bastion of Mobility out, Karma is in a good position to grab that, as well as retreat that Corsair if he needs to. And there he is, grabbing the Globe, and then probably backing off. I don't really see him getting the kill on Korag here. He's got 2 hits with Gale Singer, but with only 8 damage, not really going to be doing much. Probably just going to turtle up with some mines and traps and then let Raltz advance.
Yeah, I feel like that would play into Raltz's game plan though, because if I was Raltz, if I saw Karma back off, I just retreat back to my Shrine Zone and just keep deploying, get an Unholy Tomb out, get some ranged out, and then start, you know, boosting up my my Tomb Lords, my Surges, keep throwing that cheap meat out. I think Karma definitely has to keep the pressure on if he wants to keep the amount of skeletons under wraps.
That was I guess we were both completely wrong about that. That Korag going down in one turn to the defensive strike from the repeater, plus the rock trap that mine layer laid, as well as the landmine knockback into the Bone Slave, doing full damage there. So that was a nice chain of events there for Karmavore, but he does get the kill, but he leaves a bunch of summons lying around that he'll have to clean up at some point.
Yeah, he did get 2 Tariff shots off, so that's again minus 16 Nora. Which does start adding up here, because he's gotten several of those Tariff hits off already. Repeater looks pretty good, by the way, like decent stats and it's got Strike. It especially seems like a lot of defense is being thrown around lately, so Very good.
I think Precision as well as Sentinel are the other possible upgrades there. So you could do something like Sentinel and then Punish. It was Punish, right? Not Precision. But as far as Precision goes, Tortons do have a bunch of that. But yeah, Strike is definitely really useful against certain factions. I always enjoy having it against Iron Fist and Sundered Lands. A lot of high defense champions there. But it seems like Raltz may be positioning to contest with a Relic next turn. So Karma immediately recognizing the threat, dropping a champion there to prevent that. And then, but man, Raltz putting a ton of meat on the board already. I mean, that Bone Slave death alone got him like 63 HP in skeleton meat.
Yeah, and Tortons don't really have very efficient ways of dealing with cheap meat because their range can't easily attack a whole bunch because they're ponderous. They don't seem to have a lot of anti-summon abilities, and there's no swarms, not a lot of AoE sort of type damage other than the bombs and whatnot that require a little more setup. So I'm interested to see how Karma sort of approaches this mid game, because I would assume he's trying to draw his is it Craghide, whichever one has abuse charged and then keeps getting the bombs off.
Right.
Because given all the little skeletons, he could stack up a lot of charges very quickly and sort of keep eliminating the cheap meat very efficiently that way.
Yeah, as far as anti-summon options go for Tortons, they don't actually have any like ritual abilities or sever summons. So that is definitely a big weakness of theirs that they're sort of prone to getting into, is when they get faced with like swarmy, spammy summon decks. They don't tend to do too well. But Tremere Craghide deploy here would be perfect for what Karma needs to do right now. Maybe we'll see it next turn. I'm assuming he probably hasn't drawn it, is just the reason he hasn't deployed it yet.
Yeah, I would assume so. I'm a bit surprised that another Broken Bones is coming out, because he's got a lot of cheap meat. Skeletons, Grave Warriors out already that fulfill the same role. I would really love to see some range here, because it's going to be really hard to actually start dealing damage to the Tortons. And if he's just trading away the little Grave Warriors, Karma's going to reach sort of a critical mass of Tortons at one point that just steamrolls over whatever he's got. Because the Grave Warriors by themselves don't actually do any damage to 2-3 defense Tortons.
Right. They just sort of act as walls for stuff like Tomb Lord in the back. But yeah, that really would be a big help for Raltz. Here would be a Tomb Lord in the back, or maybe even 2 Tomb Lords, just to take pot shots at these Tortons and then look to power turn with Dark Rising. So we see a graveyard for more summons. Well, in this case, graveyard skeletons are real, but that might end up hurting him more than anything else, playing into Tariff, as we were talking about earlier. But it is more
definitely.
meat.
I'm not sure what he's got in the deck, but it seems strange to keep going for the cheap melee real units that will die in 2 hits. And like you say, Tariff will happily see that going, especially because it's a 1-font map, and it's hard to bank Nora for like a Tomb Lord, because you need like 1.5 turns for that. But if Tariff keeps hitting 1 or 2 champs a turn, you just might as well not have a font.
Right. Karma cleaning up a few of those summons already, and feel like Raltz is going to come under pressure here in the next turn or two as Torton's trade comes off cooldown, Battle Hymn comes off cooldown, and then Repeater coming in for a strike. And as soon as Broken Bone starts to split, Raltz is going to be really hurting for Nora because of that Tariff. Doesn't seem like Raltz is running any of the like the late game sort of skeleton engine like Altar of Bones for the Grave Warriors either. So not sure what his game plan is at the moment. He doesn't really have a good way to make any progress into the just the overpowering range of the Tortons that come down. I see another Bone Slave. That's really not what he needs right now.
No Unholy Tomb either, so normally you'd really get those key pieces set up, your Surge units, your Unholy Tomb, and then like you say, a Dark Rising, a Moby, and you just start cleaning up because you're more efficient. But despite having a lot of efficient meat out, it's just literally thrown in a Torton meat grinder, and he's not dealing any damage, he's just slowly, seeing his summons go under.
Mm-hmm. Nothing like a Zulos or a Sirkin either to benefit off the deaths. So we get a captain out here, more AP generation for Torton's trade, more mines. And I'm pretty sure Gale is back off cooldown as well. So as soon as that mine layer moves in, he can do a Gale mine on pretty much anything he wants right now. I would assume that the Archmage and the Bone Wing would take priority, of course. But looks like he is moving up, putting out the long fuse bomb. Gonna force Raltz to back off here. I wonder if he'll actually just go for the shrine at this point and just ignore the meat entirely. I feel like that would be too bold.
He might though, because there's no real power turn spells in KF that would facilitate it like you have in a KFSL split with Torrents, but he's got a lot of range out. At the start of the game, it looked like he was only sort of, running a bunch of melees out and then a Grenadier, but now he's been deploying, Captain, Repeater, he's got a Guilslinger out, and there's just no answer to the range from Raltz. Like, the Bone Wing doesn't have 1-4 range anymore like it had on release, and everything else is just melee meat. That's just, running into a literal meat grinder there.
Yeah. So he splits up the Broken Bones. He might be trying to go for a kill on that. And then Raltz. Yeah, Raltz doesn't have any way to really go in or engage or anything. The summon spam that he was banking on earlier has kind of all just died. Well, there's the payoff there, the Sirkin coming down, but probably a little bit late for that now. Summons another warrior. Sort of tries to delay that ground pounder with the summon, but of course Bastion of Mobility prevents that. Bastion of Mobility is a really, really strong ability. I feel like it's underrated in a lot of cases. Just the pure positioning potential you can get off with having all like disengaging for 1 AP, especially in a slower theme like Torton's. It's a perfect ability for them.
Definitely, I think as many of these abilities go, if they're global, they're usually worth it running at least one in your game, especially on split font maps. Just really good value across the board. Like you said, the Sirkin might be a little late. It definitely feels like that Sirkin should be at like 20-ish damage now, so it can actually start two-shotting stuff for it to make a real impact. I mean, 13 damage isn't bad, but we're looking at 2-3 defense sword, so you're gonna need 4 attacks to kill something. And what else damage-wise do you really have? There's no auras. There's some small DOTs on the Broken Bones, but they're not getting a lot of attacks off. There's no I don't know. There's no even bone elemental or anything else to really slow it down, other than the few HP on these little skeletons. But once these get cleaned up on the front line, really nothing protecting the shrine or the fonts anymore.
Yeah, I feel like we're gonna see. He has no way to avoid to get around elusive on the Bone Wing at the moment, but looks like he's gonna go in for another mind play. Raltz sort of positioned the Archmage and the Bone Wing probably incorrectly here. The landmine knockback gonna do an obscene amount of damage in that area with the Gale. Yep, he definitely went in for the mine. And here comes the Tremor. Yeah, and a Thorn Trap on top of that. Yeah. And with the boost gone, that kills the summon.
That looks like game. The Archmage is going to end up dying to the DOT if it doesn't already discern. Cheap Meat is now a lot weaker because it lost the boosts across the board, and nothing really left. Bone Slave and the Lich Master's still there, but it's not strong enough. And got one out of 2 Korak pieces left, but nothing really to start one rounding or killing any Torrents. So it's looking very tough here for FW.
It is. I feel like we're going to see a battle him and maybe a kill on the Sirkin here, thanks to that Bastion of Mobility allowing Corsair to just walk right by those skeletons, getting a massive pistol shot onto the Sirkin here. Yep, there's the shot, and then Repeater. Gonna get at least 1. The strike, 15 more damage. And then he goes for the turtle to keep himself safe. So not quite a kill on Sirkin, but definitely down to half HP. Has to play a lot more safely with it now. The Archmage is going to die to the damage over time. And then these summons, the one up top is within relic contest range, so maybe that's something that Raltz can play for. He has another graveyard, or maybe a Grimwell. Yeah, losing the Bone Wing and the Archmage here really hurts. Sort of just Sirkan versus the world now.
Yeah, and I mean, Sirkin's good, you know, by all means, but it just, I don't think it's enough against all the HP and stats that are currently out in the form of the Torrents. Just, there's nothing else really on the board that will do relevant damage. I mean, this Bragg is hitting for 7 with an aura, but you know, you can't one round anything. I don't know how many Torrents have actually died in this game, but it just seems like most stuff just stays alive, and he's Karma, that is, just been building up critical mass, and now there's just seemingly not much left to do. Those globes are exposed as well, and like you said, Bastion mobility allows him to grab those with the ground pounder if he wants.
Right.
And not much left here to do, I don't think.
Sorry, just 1 second. We're having a minor technical hiccup here with the game server going down for me. Feel free to keep... you're still in the game, of course. You can feel free to keep commenting on what's going on.
Yeah, Cleansing Emerald comes down from Karma, cleanses the Grenadier here. Looking to use a Battle Hymn here on the Gale Singer. With the Privateer Captain looking to slam the Grave Warrior. Kills it. The Graveyard's still contesting his Font, but that will get cleaned up soon. He could go for a contest on the Font as well if he's got Turtle up on the Mind Slayer. Got hit by Circus Defensive Turtle at 2 HP now, but if it turtles in,
okay, here we go.
Still be an efficient contest.
Yeah. All right, so I'm back in, and yeah, so everything played out exactly as you described. Graveyard contesting that Font there, and Emerald coming down, and yep, a lot of Nora Globes there for Karmavore's collecting.
Sirkin is starting to look scary now, but it just feels a little too late. If this was 3-4 turns earlier, and he could actually kill 1 or 2 Torrents by now, this would seem a lot more feasible. But now we're looking at, what is this, 7 Torrents out versus a Sirkin and some summons. So
yeah, 3 HP could go down to go down to like a Withering Fern or something, or just that, the Transfigure. I feel like that's worth it at this point. I mean, Karma's in complete control of the board at the moment. The Nora loss from the Transfigure doesn't really hurt, and there's the end of the game. So there we go. Karma taking the win.
For sure.
Well played to both sides, and we'll see everyone in the next one.